Hello vegan adventurers, welcome to the second vlog in Mallorca, Spain. Today we're gonna visit Campanet caves and after we're gonna do a little hike in the surrounding area. So let's get into the vlog. Okay, so here we are already walking to the cave, enjoying the stalactites and stalagmites. To get into the cave you must book a tour which lasts 40 minutes and it's quite expensive, 15 euros per person. Now let's enjoy the cave together while I tell you some interesting information about it. The Campanet caves are located on the southern slopes of the Pic de San Miguel in the Sierra de Tramuntana in the north of Mallorca. The Campanet caves cover an area of approximately 3,200 square meters and reaches a depth of 300 meters. Its volume is estimated at 16,000 cubic meters, which are the most important caves in the Sierra de Tramuntana. Here the guide is talking about the formation of stalactites. It takes 60,000 years to form a stalactite like this one, and at the beginning they are the size of only 3 millimeters like this one over here, and they slowly form by calcificating the water which runs through the middle of it, and the progression is only like 2 millimeters of a stalactite per year. The tour travels 400 meters inside the caves at an average depth of 50 meters and lasts 40 minutes. The average temperature is 20 degrees Celsius, which right now is warmer than outside. The Campanet caves are remarkable for the delicacy and exuberance of calcium deposits in the form of stalactites, stalagmites and columns, which are fusions of a stalactite and stalagmite, which are formed over millions of years, and some rooms also have fistulous stalactites, which are stalactites shaped tubed as macaroni, in which circulates the water runoff, up to 3 meters in length, which would be the longest in Europe. Some stalactites are broken following the switched blocks which they are attached to. White is the predominant color of crystal formations in the caves of Campanet. However, the color variations are observed and are due to the presence of various chemical elements in seepage. The red color indicates the presence of iron oxidates, the brown color comes from impurities incorporated in the crystal structure, and blackish tones are assigned to manganese. These natural colors are enhanced by subtle lighting instead of colored lights other caves deliver to mass tourism. Similarly, the visit is accompanied by a more subtle background music that shows sound and light of the other caves. This highlights the exceptional acoustics of the caves of Campanet, where choirs of singers give performances every year. You can also hear the echo of your own footsteps. The rocks in which Campanet caves were dug are dolomite, double carbonate of calcium and potassium, dating from the late Triassic, a period of secondary era Mesozoic which extended from 250 to 200 million years. These rocks were intensively folded and fractured during 15 million years due to collision between the continents of Europe and Africa. Formation of the caves by groundwater began around 4 or 5 million years ago during the Mesolithic period. This process was made possible by the nature of the limestone and water to acid rain once it loaded with the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and in the surface layer. The seepage water dissolves the rock on one side and in the other creates a crystalline deposits, stalactites, stalagmites and so on at a rate which varies according to climate factors. The Campanet caves were discovered in 1945 and presented another interest to scientists in the discovery of cave-dwelling insects, including beetle Henrotius jordi and deep lurch Homagypic espanoli, two endemic species on the island of Mallorca. During the development work of the Campanet caves, there was another discovery of the large deposits of fossils of a small ox, the Balearicus myotragus. The Myotragus balearicus was a goat endemic to the Balearic Islands, Mallorca and Menorca, but disappeared from the island since 4000 with the arrival of the men who hunted it for food. The Myotragus balearicus, now extinct because of humans, was the most advanced species of a genus Myotragus, small cattle, who lived in the Balearic Islands for more than 5 million years and was extinct by humans in only a few thousand years, and their ancestors have been isolated from the mainland by the drying of the Mediterranean basin. The Balearicus myotragus was a bovine caprine, about 50 cm tall at the withers and weighing 12 to 15 kg, with eyes directed forward, not sideways like almost all herbivorous mammals, giving it a stereoscopic vision. The Campanet caves were opened to the public on November 10, 1948. So at this time the Mallorca was experiencing exceptionally high amounts of rains, but the guide said it takes 2 days until the water penetrates through the ground and reaches the cave. Alright, we finished exploring the Campanet caves. It was an interesting cave, but I think the price ticket was a little bit too much, 15 euros per person. And now we have some time to explore the surrounding area. We see that there are some walking paths to explore, but we also see that these fields and forests are surrounded by fences. Maybe it's not a barbed wire fences like in South America, but it also goes for kilometers and kilometers around here. So I think it all stems from the same Western culture of privatization. Everything is private, everything is mine, and that's why you have a restricted access everywhere, which is really unfortunate. In Slovakia and other Eastern European country it would not be like this. It's totally unreasonable to put such a high barbed wire fence around the forest. I really don't understand why it is. But despite being disappointed with those barbed wire fences, once we got in this forest, it was really nice nature. Now we're following the dried up river and we saw these goats over here. So this area cannot be used for farming as it's too rocky, as you can see, so they just left it grown by forests, and I think these goats could be free as they're not really profitable anymore. So people often ask what would all the farm animals do if people stop eating meat. So it would gradually decrease the population because they would not be bred into existence, and the rest of them would just be roaming in nature like these goats over here. Springs. They're a group of sporadic upwellings spread along the Biennatra Fault of an approximate length of 2 kilometers. The volume of water that wells up at these springs varies greatly depending on the rainfall. The average in the area is around 1000 millimeters per year, and the initial piezometry, which reaches maximum level of 70 cubic meters per second. Coal merchant huts. When it was time to gather firewood and make the coal merchants would live in huts or cottages that are built close to the Rodel de Sicha. Generally speaking, they are very simple, round structures with only one door and no windows. Huts were constructed using materials that was found close by. They had dry stone walls and the roof was made from plant branches and leaves. And as we're walking through this nice forest, we found another big gate which was also surrounded by these huge barbed wire fences. It said a sign, private property. So it's the same thing as in South America, and that's where South Americans got it from the Spanish culture. where everything is private and everything is fenced up. Basically you have no freedom of movement, the nature is just private everywhere. The camping is even prohibited, I think, in Spain because everything is pretty much private. So they should take an example of Nordic countries like Sweden or Norway, where it's even encouraged to camp outside and pretty much the freedom of movement is signed into a law. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the second vlog in Mallorca, exploring the Campanet caves, and even though we're a little bit disappointed by the barbed wire fences, it felt like being in South America again. There was still quite nice nature, and we're hoping that the situation will be different in Tramontana Mountains, which we're gonna explore next few days. So stay tuned for those adventures, and as always, stay healthy
and stay adventurous.